Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Nahmaduhu wa nusalli ala rasulihil kareem. Amma ba'd, fa'auzu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Rabbi sharah li sadri wa yassir li amri. Wahlul uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli. This is an important topic, and that is time management. If you look at our time, we are so messed up and we have so many things on our mind. We are actually overwhelmed with the time challenges. And it's not just about Ramadan, it's every day. That's how we are. We don't know how to manage this time. When we are so overwhelmed, then we have set of problems which I would also focus on. Experts say this is the most important commodity. If we make a comparison between time and money, because people usually like to invest for money or they want to think of money, saving money, but time is more important than money. That is what some experts say, that time is money. How? You can deposit money in a bank, and once you deposit it, you can keep it growing and, yes, later use it whenever you need. But you cannot do the same with time. You cannot deposit it anywhere. Each one of us have same 24 hours, and we have to use those 24 hours. And if you don't use it, it doesn't stay saved. You can't say that, oh, today I am totally free, but tomorrow I have a jam packed day. So maybe I can shift 3 hours from today to tomorrow. You cannot do that. For money, we can even borrow it from someone, but we can't do that for time. Like you're sitting with a friend and you ask her, what are you doing today? And she says, I'm totally free, totally bored, nothing else to do. You can't say, oh, please, I am loaded. Can I borrow 2 hours from you? No. Each one of us will have same time and we will have to use that same time. If we look at the general time management problems that we have, a lot of people, they are into procrastination. In fact, there are a lot of studies which say when people are overwhelmed about the time challenges, that's when they start procrastinating. Then the screen, it takes away so much of our time. Every day we make promises with ourselves. I'm not going to use screen that much. Today I'm going to focus on my work. Or what I'll do is I will quit my Insta today. For Ramadan, I'm not going to be on my Insta. But every now and then we have this desire and impulse and we go move back to screen. A lot of people, they are sleep deprived because, again, since they're not managing time, so whenever they are tight on some schedule, they feel that sleep is the only thing that can be squeezed. Like, for example, if you're supposed to be, usually you want to sleep, you want to be in your bed by 10 p.m. or let's say 11 p.m. And if you have an assignment to complete, it's not like you are going to manage that assignment properly for the whole week with the proper time management principles. Usually, what people do is they say, okay, I'll sleep late. And sometimes they are up the whole night completing assignments, taking coffee or energy drinks, and that's what they do. We also have a multitasking myth. There was a time when someone who does multitasking was considered to be someone who is very cool, who has lot of energy to carry on with multiple tasks at the same time. But now time management experts say that if we start multitasking when we have some important work at hand, basically what we're doing is the quality of everything that we do starts suffering. So you cannot say that I can complete my work and talk to my friend, chat with my friend, or watch something online, because definitely the quality of your work is going to go down. Okay, then time allocation is our big problem. We actually only think in our head and we have no plan laid out for ourselves. And that again becomes a big problem, because if you keep thinking in your head, but usually I ask people, okay, how's your life going, and they say pretty good, though they come to me with problems like this, that either I'm addicted to screen or I'm procrastinating, or I'm sleep deprived, or other issues related to even relationships. So when I say that if your schedule is so good, then how you are not able to carry it on the ground? And when I asked them, I said, can you open your calendar and show me the written form? And they're like, no, I don't write anything. It's just in my head. And I have always been doing that, keeping it in my head and doing a good job with it. No, I'm so sorry. If the time allocation is not properly done according to the principles of time management and not in your calendar, then it will be a big problem for you. We need to see that related to time, what will be our academic and professional insights. You have to see what are your study habits. A lot of students, typically what they do is they keep postponing their assignments, their work, their study till the very last minute. It's like 3 days, 4 days, or a week before their exam, and that's when they actually sit down to study. Even when we have modular systems where you have to be constantly doing your assignments or doing the quizzes, but still, that's where we have the problems. Then we do not recognize our productivity peaks, or we bring our productivity peaks according to our own desires. Now, for 1 week or few days, I'm going to be very productive, and then I will have my lows when I will not be able to do anything. There is no goal setting. Unless you set a goal, you will never be able to achieve it. There is no work life balance. When you're working, you are a workaholic. Otherwise, you are not focusing on anything at home. And this becomes a problem once you're married, because before marriage, if we are just working, or even if like there is no balance in our work life and home life, we have mothers at the back and they are managing everything for us. So it just happens automatically, I would say. But ultimately, what happens is that once you're married, and then you are with your spouse, and then you're trying to settle things, sometimes he wouldn't agree with your pattern of work life balance. So that brings in a set of conflict as well. A lot of people who have time management issues, they also are very bad with themselves. This self care is so bad. They always tell me that they have no time for themselves, and I usually tell them again, it's a window that you need to open. Like within the same activities that you're engaged in, you need to understand how to have that self care impact. Let's focus on a surah which is in Quran and which is known as the time management surah. This is a very, very beautiful surah. It's very short, comprehensive, but it gives a very strong message. Wal asr, by the time. And which time the surah talks about? The time of asr. And this is the time when major chunk of your day is gone and you're left with small portion of it, and sometimes you're rushing through things. You're like, oh my god, I'm supposed to do this. You're rushing and you're rushing, and then you're also sort of deciding what to do and what to quit, or what to postpone for another day. And when we go usually at by this time in panic mode, what we do is sometimes we give up on everything. Okay, then I'm so overwhelmed. Let me just sit and watch some movie because I don't think so. I can manage anything, or I'm having a panic attack. So in life as well, this is what happens. Sometimes when we realize that I miss so many opportunities, good opportunities, I just procrastinated, I wasted my time, we feel so bad, so helpless, and then we don't know what to do. And what we actually end up doing is procrastinating. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is taking an oath of that time, meaning telling us that look, don't give up on yourself. Because the moment you realize that your time management is messed up and you start working on your time, you achieve a lot. Okay, yes, you missed out on so much before that, but it's no use looking at the past that way. The next verse says, Innal insana lafi khusr. Indeed, verily, man is in loss. So we are losers related to time management. Unless, what do? إِلَّا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالْحَقِّ وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالصَّبْرِ. Except such if we work on our faith, our iman, and do amal saleh, that are the good deeds, and then we join together in the mutual teaching of truth and patience and consistency. This is of such a strong, powerful message that has been delivered to us in a very, very comprehensive and focused way. So let us look at this, the effective time management of a believer. How is it? There are two factors that have been mentioned in this which are related to yourself. This is within your control, something that you do for your own self. And what are these? Your iman and your amal saleh. So, what you need to do is you need to integrate it in a very beautiful manner. First of all, you need to have a lot of clarity about why you're doing something. It has to be, like we talked about, akhlas, your sincerity to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We talk about your intention, innamal amalu bin niyat, that you're doing it solely for sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, whether you're spending time with your family, whether you're studying a certain subject, whether you are volunteering for a cause, whether you are going to your educational institution, you're taking up a certain profession. So everything has to be value added because of your iman, because you keep reminding yourself, I'm going to be answerable to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So I would like to ask you if you can mention few points in the chat, that if you have iman and that is your main focus in your time management, how would it help you? A first important ingredient when you're working on yourself related to the time management is your iman, that whatever you do is based on why you're doing it, that it has to be purpose driven, value added. So I wanted to ask you, how do you think that whatever you're doing in your 24 hours is going to be impacted by this iman? How would it help you?
I'm happy to go. Assalamu alaikum, everyone.
Walaikum assalam.
Um, with me personally, having Iman, I guess helps me in being productive because that we know that Allah doesn't like lazy people either. And it can be like being on time with your prayers, and you also mentioned looking after yourself.
Yeah.
And for me, that's going to the gym. So I go to the gym to look after my body because it's an amanat. So that's one way I like to think of it.
Okay, that's great. That's what I want everyone to focus on, because when you're working on your iman, and Jazakallah khair for a focused and beautiful answer. See, when the iman is there, and you know that you're doing it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then you are very clear. You know what you're saying, what you're doing, or what you're acting upon is like something which will help you. You don't raise questions or queries against whatever you're doing. And second important thing is amal saleh, that whatever you do, you tell yourself it has to be aligned with Quran and Sunnah. And that would mean that you have to be Quran student. You have to study Quran cover to cover so that you understand all the principles with lot of clarity. So this is something that you owe it to yourself when it comes to time management. Like if you're only looking at time management from a technical perspective, you might be doing a lot, but if it is not for sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it's not going to be registered over there for us. If it is not according to Quran and Sunnah, not amal saleh, again, we will be losers at the end of the day. The next two principles, how are going to be our interaction with people? And people would be starting from the family, then your friends, then your teachers, your mentors, and the larger community when you are going around your relatives and even people in your social circle. And that can be online as well. So, what you do when you are interacting with these people, you focus on two areas. One is haqq. And what is haqq? That is the truth. That whatever you say is right, that is evidence based, that is principled. And sabr, you need to have a lot of patience. Like nothing can be achieved because of instant gratification. We don't rush through things in our relationship. If I've sent you a message, you have to respond in a millisecond. If you have seen it and you are maybe busy doing something else and you're not able to give me time, then you're no longer my friend. I don't know you anymore. And haq is if someone comes up to you and even puts a peer pressure saying, oh, for my sake, can you please lie? Can you cover up for me? And you're like, no, I'm so sorry. I'm not going to lie. I can stand up for you, cover up for you if it is for the right cause, for the right reason. But I'm not going to lie. So this brings in lot of integrity. Now, again, my question would be, when you are among people and whatever we have talked about related to haq and sabr, what kind of peer pressure you feel your generation is going through? Can anyone comment on that? Yeah, I would want to have some examples related to the peer pressure, especially when you feel cornered, you want to stay principled, the pressure is telling you to do something which is against the principle, or where you feel that we lose our patience.
I guess if you've got like deadlines, people are pressuring you to finish, assignments or a work task, but it's not within your means to complete it by that time.
That is a very important point that you have raised, and inshallah, I'm going to tell you what we usually do. That is a mess usually at our end when it comes to deadlines, and I'm going to talk about that, inshallah. Peer pressure is not like people are gonna openly say something to us, but peer pressure sometimes is just a subtle pressure that we feel ourselves. Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam has reported to have said there are two blessings in which people are cheated: health and leisure time. So what we do is when we are healthy and we should be engaged in doing amal soleh, then we engage in just being on our social media, Netflix, just hanging out with friends, or again just procrastinating. And the moment you're sick, you remember every healthy activity that you're supposed to do. And same goes for the leisure time. When our parents, especially mothers, they complain about the mess in our room, our closet, we keep promising, oh, mom, just weekend. I'll do it over the weekend. And over the weekend, we want to just sleep and be lazy. And we are like, come on, this is the weekend. That's the only time I'm getting to just relax and unwind. So we keep postponing our stuff. Another narration by the Prophet, he said, grab five things before five others: your youth before your old age, your health before your illness, your wealth before your poverty, your leisure before your work, and your life before your death. One of the most important thing over here I find, especially related to you, is your youth before your old age. Again, usually when our parents or elders, they tell us, become very punctual about praying, be more practicing in your deen. And sometimes we open the albums and we look at our parents' pictures when they were young, and we're like, oh, you used to have such a fun life and rock and roll life, and you are pressurizing me to do everything. Mom, back off, give me some space. When I'll be your age, then I'm going to be more serious about my deen. But the question that will be asked will not be for the old age. It will be when you're young, you're loaded with energy. How did you spend that time? Prophet ﷺ said, oh Allah, bless my nation's early rising. I find it so much relevant to these times, especially living in Pakistan. You know, a lot of the businesses, they have gradually and started opening late and late. And now you go to marketplaces, malls, nothing opens before 12 p.m. Can you imagine? Everyone are trying to have a nightlife, which is not good. And I see a lot of Western cultures flourishing because they are early risers and they start their day early. The educational institution, they start early, and the offices, they start early. But the rest of the people, nation, they are just sleeping and just wasting their time. Some of the sayings of the scholars, Hassan al Basri, Rahmatullah alayhi, said, I saw those people, Salaf, and how they were more careful about their time than about their dirhams and dinars. Then another saying is, it is unbelievable. I have never seen Hamad laugh at all. He was always busy explaining the hadith, praying, reading, or praising the Lord. If you were to tell Hamad, you are going to die tomorrow, then there would be nothing he could add to what he is already doing. Subhanallah. I mean, look at us. We know that something is going to happen in our life. We have a long list of things that we should be doing and we should be focusing on. This was said by Musa ibn Ismail. Another saying, where take it as a word of caution, leisure time will never remain unoccupied. It will be occupied with good or evil. If one does not occupy himself with truth, that self will make him occupied with falsehood. So successful is he who fills his time with what is good and righteous, and woe to him who fills it with evil and corruption. A very simple example would be if you have a glass of water which looks empty. Is it empty? No, it is filled up by air. So when we have time and we are not doing something good in it, we will actually end up doing something which is evil. It's a very, very important point that we need to remember. So what would be effective time management? I would like to go to some practical tips how we can manage time, because we can keep talking about time and time's benefit and everything. Ultimately, we will not find any solution. So my approach usually is, let's focus more on the solutions. And when we focus on the solution, inshallah, that will help us focus on what we should be doing after realizing the importance and significance of time. So here in front of you is a very important formula which tells us that we need to set our priorities right. And the formula is 80-20. Has any one of you heard about it? Heard about this formula? Any guess?
Is it like spending 80% of your time actually doing the things you need to do and 20% to relax?
It's very interesting. I usually ask people to give me ideas, and though the time management gurus, they have a specific definition for this, but anything or a lot of other things can also work around it. So 80-20 principle is a principle which says, usually what happens is when we are thinking about time management or good time management, we feel like, God, I'm going to be totally busy doing work all day, and life will get so boring, and life will get so difficult, and there will be no time for fun. It's not that. And sometimes we look at people who are very principled in their time management and they take pride in it. So we feel they must be having such a shallow life, boring life, and totally occupied life. No. People who have good time management, they're smart people. And what do these smart people do? They basically find out what they should be investing in. So if they invest in the 20% right, appropriate, focused work, they get 80% results. Now, usually people who are messed up on time, what they're doing is all their tasks and chores are so expanded, 80% in front of them, and they are rushing through the 20. This is what we are going to learn today, that you put the right appropriate efforts on 20%. You just have to identify that 20% in your life, in your year, in your month, in your week, in your day. And if you recognize that, you will get 80% results. And this is a very, very interesting formula that you work on. For this, what you need to do is understand the difference between what is urgent and what is important. So the urgent is something that you have to do instantly. There is no backing off. Important is something that holds a lot of value in your life, but you might not have to take care of it immediately. Again, now I need your active participation. What I want you to do is you have to give me a list of different examples from different paradigms. So we are going to have 4 paradigms. In these 4 paradigms, what you have to do is focus on this paradigm and tell me the tasks which are not urgent and not important.